Kansas City versus Orlando Pride, playing this weekend on CBS. You don't want to miss it. We'll also have a watch along. Once again, I'll be hosting this week with a really fun cast. But there's a bunch of other matches across the CBS network as well. We have Utah Royals versus Angel City, Friday, 10 p.m. Eastern on Paramount Plus. Sunday, Gotham versus Houston Dash on Paramount Plus. And Monday, we got a Monday night game, Seattle Reign versus Chicago Stars. But the biggest one, the one we're all looking forward to, Kansas City versus Orlando this Saturday, 4 p.m. Eastern. Remember last year, Orlando beat Kansas City 2 times, drawing against them once, but ultimately knocked them out of the semifinals going into the championship at CPKC Stadium. So you know that Kansas City has that vengeance on their mind. But Kansas City came back this year, beat them 1-0 in May, and I believe Chawinga is the one who scored the goal. Kansas City on a big winning streak right now, 8 matches, 12 points above Orlando, who are second place, which is nuts to say. But Orlando opened the season with 4 consecutive wins, but have only won 4 of their last 11 matches. So going into this match, why does everyone want this to be a rivalry so bad? It's not a real rivalry, but I think people are pitting it that way.
Like, how do you say it's not? I do, because I think that what ends up happening is these sort of giants emerge in the league and they end up just like essentially beefing with each other. I think that they both have swagger between the celebrations, Marta kind of chipping them off. I think that they're starting to really dig their heels into the respective fan bases and they've gotten under each other's skin to where now it's a more anticipated match, whether or not it's high stakes. I think that we'll see it that where it's once we get over this, I guess, hump of are they always at the top of the table? Is that where the stress points are? Is that why we're starting to see this be more of a rivalry? Or will this be a lasting thing where, like, years later, as one of them start to slump, maybe you're still looking forward to this matchup to see, like, hey, is this beef still alive? But I see it. I can see it. I can. I really can. And I think that that just starts happening when you see teams that look like they are just serial winners and you want to topple each other because who's testing your metal better than that team that keeps wanting chomping at your heels?
Jen, do you agree? $5 in the mute jar.
$5. Okay.
It's okay.
She was saying
it's okay.
she agrees with me. Definitely a rivalry.
It happens to the best of us.
It does. Look, there's construction happening. Had to mute just in case. $5 in the jar. At least it's not the swear jar, right?
Yeah, there's still time.
Yeah. No, I think, look, it's a rivalry. It's 2 top teams. It's 2 giants, kind of what Coupon said. You got huge players on both sides. Marta, one of the best. We just saw her crush it on the international stage again. We want to see her do it back in the NWSL as she's known to be doing. I think you're looking at 2 giants that went head to head last season and gave us amazing football to watch. So for that reason, and it's first versus second. I think regardless of the point difference, it's still 2 teams at the top of the table. I think what still blows my mind about the table right now is it's a 12-point difference between first and second, and then another 12-point difference between Orlando and the bottom. So that's the competitiveness of the latter stages, but it's a rivalry because it's still first versus second. It's a 6-point game. You can close the gap massively if you win this game for Pride. And I don't know. I think you always want to play against the top teams. You always want to see the top players play against. Of course, Spirit are in that conversation with top teams at the top. But for me, this is still a rivalry. This is a big chance for Orlando to close that gap. And I think that's what I'm a little bit hesitant because they're not off the best run whatsoever. 3 games without a win is no not a confidence boost you want going into a game against Kansas, but the form that KC are on, man, like it's just, but it's narrow wins. I keep saying that they're not scoring high scoring goals. It's their defense that's keeping them in it, in my opinion. Narrow game winning goals. So this is still a top game. I'm still excited for it, and this is a chance for Orlando to close it and be like, right, if and when we do get to playoffs, we're still coming for you. You might be running away with it in the ladder, but playoffs might be a different game, and this is our chance as Orlando to put a foot in it and kind of show up in that way.
Yeah, I think this is the final that we kind of really wanted to see last year. And remember how iconic that game was. Ended 3-2. We had Marta putting defenders on skates to put the two defenders at the same time with a right-footed chop with a left-footed finish. I know we all remember this goal, watched it about 20 times. Iconic moment. I think that probably feeds into this rivalry, that it was essentially a meme that was made out of Kansas City and what knocked them out of the semifinals. But I'm looking at these two teams and I think I I don't have the same faith in Orlando I did last year, which breaks my heart to say because that's the club I retired with. But from what I look at with Kansas City, that's a team that's grown a lot defensively. I think they're so much more structured. They know how to manage a game better instead of being so transitional, so open, especially in the back. They know how to be a little bit more refined. They have an incredible goalkeeper in Lorena, who I think has been so stellar for them. And Orlando, I'm waiting for that bite that they had last year. But I want to know what to you guys has changed from last season to this season between both of these two teams, good or bad? Is it Kansas City's just gotten that much better and been able to maintain it, or Orlando has fallen off a little bit?
I think the biggest thing for me is you're spot on with the defensive attributes that KC have really stepped up. I think we talk about the NWSL being a lot of transitions and so much pace and always having to really have a hold of that when you have the ball. And I think Kayla Sharples, for me, I think she was in my team of the week a couple of weeks ago. I think she's come on so much, and her performances at the center of defense, and not just defensively, by the way, on the ball as well, playing through midfield. I think breaking down lines, breaking down a press. But for me, the transitions are so important, and especially against Pride at the weekend, when you've got a Barbra Banda ready to be on the hunt, on in behind every single time that Marta's on the ball, she's going to look for that space. And I think Kayla Sharples, for me, and the whole defense, but she's at the heart of it, right? She's the one communicating from the back, organizing everything in front of her when you have the ball, thinking, right, if we lose it now, what's the next phase? What's the transition? And that tactically, I think, is so important now, not just in this league, in football in general. And she's at the heart of that. So for me, that's number one. Especially, I will say, as a centre back, in when you play in games that aren't high scoring, right? You can't rely on 2, 3, 4 goals and then get away with conceding one. You're thinking every game is a shutout, and that's what I think they've taken. They don't come away with a game thinking, we conceded 1 or 2. It's okay because we scored 3 or 4 up the other end. They're winning a lot of 1-0s, 2-1s, close, narrow games. So shutouts for me, for Kansas City, are what have taken their team to the next level, and know that Chawinga can go up the other end and get them out of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's last year at this point in the season, we were talking about how Kansas City still couldn't figure out how to stop bleeding goals. And that was outside of an overall, I'd say, fairly measured, well-rounded team. That was their Achilles heel. And it was a big question of, well, is this a strategy going forward? Are they just going to continue to try to outscore how many goals they concede? That's not really very sound. And I think that that really changed the whole conversation. But on top of that, like, Lorena catching fire this season, where I think we could talk about her in the same conversations that we'd have Anna Morehouse, where it's, oh damn, like you should fear her now. This is more of a threat coming from them from the back. They're more confident, and with that, like their build seems so much more comfortable for Kansas City, who already had, I think, very talented midfielders. They were able to move the ball around. You had multi-purpose players like Lowe who can kind of command everybody and get them in line. And now you don't need as many demands on her necessarily, because again, I think Sharples made a huge difference to BD's point. And then poor Orlando, it's very hard to replicate success the way that they did, right? Like things were tight. They still had to fight things out toward the latter part of last season. It was that they were able to galvanize together. They're a great squad together. I think that this season, I think it's over reductive, but they really need to screw their heads on and really like lock in and remember who they are, because I don't think the talent pool has changed all that much. For some reason, they've shown to be weak in areas that I wouldn't anticipate it to be. And I think that when Marta isn't there, which is kind of surprising because yes, Marta's Marta, but the fight seems a little bit lacking.
What I love most about this game, though, and Darian, I'd love to know your opinion on this. You got two legends of the league, right? Banda versus Chawinga. And let's talk about, what do you think, current form? How do either team stop them? Who needs to show up? Obviously, Chawinga has been on absolute form, but what are you looking forward to the most with this sort of two unbelievable strikers in such a big game?
I mean, it's nuts. These are two, I mean, Jen, you can speak to this as well. When you go against a team that has such a dominant striker, which both of these teams do, you have to change the way that you defend, the way you set up to either deny service, not let them turn on the ball, not give them space to run into. Do you drop earlier? Do you just lose some of your attack in that way, lose the space you obtain when you are in possession? Because if you do lose it, we've seen both of these players literally outrun 10 players on the pitch and score a goal from it themselves. I don't know who you give the upper hand to. I think that they're actually quite even. It's the surrounding cast of who their opponent is. So you're bringing up a Kayla Sharples against Banda. Right. She has to have the best game. Because last year when they played, she was rolled, she got sliced and diced. And I think she's grown a lot since that time. And also she has a full season under her belt with that team now. And then on the other end, how do you stop Chawinga? Sam's better have her best game. Kylie and Danner has to have their best game. But if they're not, how do you deny service? I just love this matchup because I love that we get to talk about the both of them. I mean, Chawinga, 30 goals in 40 games, insanity, the quickest player to reach that. Barbra Banda has 8 goals, 35 shots on target, and leads the league overall in that category. I mean, absolutely unstoppable, but it's interesting because I had planned to ask you guys this question as well, because when we interview coaches and when you're on one of the best teams in the league, you talk like, we don't change our game to go against anybody. There's nothing, we just go out, we focus on ourselves. These are players you can't do that with. You can't. But I want to know who you guys think has to adjust more based on the players on the pitch. Which team has to concede in their own playing style more going into this match? Go ahead, Jen.
I'm thinking based on current. I don't think it's conceding. This is such a mentality thing. I think it's not conceding how you play. It's just showing respect for your opponent and being aware of like super strengths. And that's what happens when you come up with top teams that are around you in the ladder. You're going to have more quality that you have to be more aware of. So I don't think, in my experience anyway, you stick to your game plan on the ball, but it's like defensively, you have to be much more aware of what kind of space a striker likes to attack or what kind of passes a midfielder is trying to find that striker. And you analyze all that and you analyze different patterns. So it's just being more aware of those patterns coming into it. So no, I think we said it again, for me, it's transitions. When you have the ball, you have to be aware of where the opponents are, where they're looking to run in, reading body language, just being more hyper aware of what the opponent's trying to do. So I don't think that's not a conceding what you do. I 100% agree with you. It's stick to your plan on the ball and what you want to do. It's just being much more aware of the threat that other strikers can oppose. And I think, honestly, both teams have to do that, in my opinion. You're talking about two of the best strikers in the world, Chawinga and Barbra Banda, that both have like super strengths with their pace and finishing. I think Chawinga at the minute is obviously the better finisher, so you have to limit way more chances. Barbra Banda has had the highest amount of shots for me, but she doesn't convert as much as Chawinga does. So I would say Pride has to be more aware of Chawinga than the other way around, because she's the one fastest to 30. That's
also
top.
Kansas City's whole attack is insanity.
Exactly.
Cooper, now Ali Sentinor, Chawinga, Bia, Dabinia, all in good form. Kupo, do you think it's Orlando or KC, or you agree with Jen?
No, I agree with BD. I'm just trying to think in my head right now, like the task that Orlando are going to have shutting down Chawinga is going to be great, right? Because she's just those early diagonal balls, she's just too good. I think that with Orlando, you know what? Banda's gonna have a hell of a game is really where my brain is spinning right now. Only because like she can pull those center backs wide and do her work, but it's a matter of like, are you gonna actually convert? Because once you get past the defense, you're still dealing with Lorena and Anna Morehouse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So I want it to be an exciting game, but I fear we might get one of those good old paint dryers.
Oh god, I don't think so. I actually think this game is these matches are like, even maybe it's not high scoring, it's high intensity, high octane the entire time. Tactical brilliance
I
by
do. I
both
just don't think it's
coaches.
going to be a goal fest, unfortunately. I would love to see some absolute wild shenanigans like that. I just don't think it's going to happen.
Okay, well, quick fire. I want to go based on positionally. Who has the advantage? Who has the X factor on each side? So starting with the attack, who has the advantage in the attack from both these sides?
Kansas City.
Ken?
Yeah.
Oh,
Kansas City all day. Yeah.
3 for 3. I agree. Who has the advantage on defense?
I'm going to go Orlando.
Kansas.
I'm going Orlando as well. Who has the advantage in midfield?
Orlando.
Orlando?
Yeah.
Oh, Jen, I feel like that was kind of a hot take.
I feel like I could go Orlando slight. Like it would almost be.
Why? Both of you.
What?
I'm very curious. That's not what I expected you to say.
Legitimately, I think with Labonta and Claire Hutton alone, I think that they do a multitude of things and they're capable. I just, although Orlando, I am Marta and Luana healthy. I think. I don't know. I'm going back and forth.
Marta.
Maybe
my answer's short and sweet. Marta, mate. Marta can create. She can find a pass. She can finish. She can do everything. Set pieces, anything around the box, her on the ball. So if you're talking about an edge in midfield and you've got Marta in there, you've got the edge.
You convinced me. I agree.
Thank you.
All right, goal. In goal, between the sticks.
Ooh.
I'm rocking with my girl Anna. I can't do her like that. I'm rocking with my girl Anna. She just won a Euro.
Can this be a draw? Because I honestly think they're both.
No, I'm going Lorena.
She's been more consistent. I agree.
Yeah, I'm going to go Lorena only because she's been consistent, and I think the confidence is there. Where now she's like, "Oh, come at me."
That's true. Okay, last but not least, let's give our predictions. I think we're going to have a goal fest. I want another 3-2. How do teams shut each other down? They each have weapons. Even if their stars, Chawinga and Banda, are shut down, it opens up a lot of space. So I'm going to say 3-2 Kansas City. I'm sorry, my Pride girls. I'm so sorry. But I'm going to rock with Casey on this one.
I'm going 3-1 Casey.
Oh,
yeah. I think if they're going to concede against anyone, it's going to be against the Pride. I think if Banda, is taking as many shots, she's ready to convert. But I'm banking on Casey and the power that they have up top with. We could talk about Chawinga, but we have to add quality everywhere else, right? It's not just about Chawinga. She might be the one that gets the most goals, but their whole front three midfield have the ability to go and hurt Pride. So 3-1
at home as well.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna be the wild card here, and I'm gonna say Orlando. No, they need to win this to close that gap. So I'm gonna say 2-1 Orlando.
Ooh, okay, Kupo, yeah. I like that.
I think it'll be tight. I think that it will come down to how well they can each stack up defensively. Obviously, with Kansas City having the threat of Chawinga scoring on anybody, anyway, anyhow. But I think it's possible, like you get back in this last go around, like leave a bad taste in your mouth. Like, let's see it.